Hi, my name is James Moore Jr., and today we're going to talk about how to defeat anxiety and nervousness when you speak. I help people go from communication struggle to speaking confidently so they can succeed in their personal and professional life. So let's get started. This is my guy here. See that tongue? That tongue is strong because when you speak, you want to be strong. Let's talk about understanding anxiety and nervousness when speaking. Most times when we start to feel anxious or nervous when we're about to speak, it's because we usually have an outcome we've already imagined in our minds of how this is going to go. You've probably had experiences where things didn't go right and you felt embarrassed or you felt some other kind of emotion that made you feel more anxious or even nervous about the situation. So here's a few things that you can do before you even start speaking to whoever it is you're going to speak to or the group you're going to speak to. Number one, imagine things going great. Use your imagination for good. All you have to do is a little visualizing technique where you get into a quiet space, you close your eyes, and imagine the speech going great. You visualize people saying, "You did a great job. That was amazing." Things of that nature. When you can imagine you doing a great job, the brain actually produces the outcome that you truly want, which is why when you're using it to think about all the negative stuff that could happen, it usually happens. That's one. I remember giving speeches at school. Now, back in high school, I used to stutter real bad, so I was always nervous about people making fun of me when I spoke. But after I got out of school and I had to actually go to college, I didn't stutter as bad. So I didn't really have that fear anymore. What I did was I just got up there and I thought everybody wants to hear me speak. And by me thinking that, it actually made it to where I felt like everyone really wanted to hear me speak, even if they didn't. So use your imagination to help produce the result that you want and stop focusing on the result that you don't want. The brain can only produce what you want. So if you think you don't want something, it thinks you want it. Keep that in mind. Number two, breathe slowly. A lot of the times when we're anxious or nervous, our breathing is very fast and shallow. You don't want to do that because that does induce anxiety. When you start to feel yourself breathing shallow and fast, take the time, go deep breath in through the nose, empty the lungs through the mouth or the nose. Either way, take at least 5 slow, deep breaths before you do your speech. Number 3, practice feeling confident. What do I mean by practice feeling confident? I want you to imagine a time when you were doing something and you just knew you could do it. You had that feeling of, oh man, this is easy. I got this. Keep that feeling in mind. Because when you practice a certain feeling, it can become automatic. And when that feeling becomes automatic, you can use it for other scenarios, like speaking. So if you can go into your mind, remember that moment where you were feeling at your best. You knew whatever you were about to do, you had no problems doing. You get that visualization in your mind before your speech, and that emotion of confidence and assuredness will surely show when you're speaking. That is a pro tip. Now let's move on to some other techniques that can help you. Tip number 1 for speaking with confidence. I don't know why I keep making, it's one of my habits. It's one of the things I learned at school. When you do a 1, put the little thing around it, the parenthesis, I think that's what it's called. I'll just put a period. Tip number 1, practice, practice, practice. You're wondering, how can I practice my speech? I'll give you a good 3 ways to do it. 1 would be to record yourself. Record yourself speaking. Do a good 2 to 3 minute speech or whatever you're going to speak about. Record yourself. After you're done recording yourself, watch it. Now, when I say watch it, you're going to do it in 3 different ways. You're going to listen to it without watching it. So just listen to how you sound. The way you sound could really determine how you're actually feeling when you're giving that speech. So you could practice the confidence technique I told you and redo the recording to see if you sound more confident. Another way is to turn the volume down and watch how you look. When you watch how you're speaking, it can actually show you how your body language is, because your body language is one of your greatest communicators besides your words. The body always tells the truth before the mouth does. And then the third way is, if you can find a way to transcribe what you said in your speech, you can see how much you use filler words when you're speaking. Filler words can take away from your message, such as ums, like, you know what I'm saying. Those words can take away from your message. You want to practice being mindful of those and not using them. Let's talk about tip number 2. Tip number 2 is you're going to practice self-talk. Why do I say practice self-talk? Because when you're not practicing your self-talk, your default talk in your mind could be the reason why you're having anxiety or nervousness. Most of the time, most people don't have a very positive voice that speaks to them about anything that they're about to do. When you practice mentally hyping yourself up, you come off with confidence. So when you practice self-talk before your speech, saying, I can do this, I got this, everyone wants to hear what I have to say, everyone is cheering me on. Do this mentally. You can whisper it to yourself if you want to, but just know the mental is where it all starts. And this is the last one, and this one is a good one. Get the body involved. What do I mean by get the body involved? Your physiology determines how you actually feel. I'll give you an example. What does this look like? Look, even my voice changed. When you get into certain postures, they exude a certain emotion. That one was not confident. That one was, what is depression possibly? Just definitely not confident. When you want to be confident, you stand up straight, puff your chest out a little bit, hold your head up high, and everything sounds better. Even I sound better right now. Get the body involved. Make sure that you do a few movements. Get limber before you do your speech. I like to actually pretend like I'm about to go into a ring. Because when you get into a ring, you have to be confident. So when you get the body involved, it actually gets the brain and body in unison to produce confidence. Try getting the body involved before your speech and watch the magic happen. Dealing with mistakes. We're not perfect. Anybody who says they're perfect, they're not perfect. We all know that as human beings, we make mistakes. Now let's talk about how to deal with the mistake when you're speaking. 1, keep going. Keep going. As a person who stuttered, let me tell you, this was hard for me. I would get caught up on a word and I would have to stop, take a deep breath, and try again. And most of the times, when you want to keep going, you get into your head about that mistake you just made. Don't do that. Just say, oh, try again. Just recognize that, hey, oops, I did it, but let's keep going. Matter of fact, go back over that sentence or word or phrase, whatever it may be that you got caught up on, and just say it again. This time, say it a little more conscious and slow down. Most of the time when we are making a mistake, we're really anxious, or I shouldn't say anxious. We're really excited and we just want to get it all out. So we might make a mistake by going too fast. Just slow down and it'll come out just fine. Number 2, focus on your message. Focus on your message. You're wanting to speak to a person or a group for a reason. Focus on your message. When you focus on your message, it keeps your mind in alignment with what you're trying to do. And that is the best way to deal with those mistakes. Because if you go off on tangents or you just not really thinking about what you're trying to convey, that's where mistakes can come about. So always focus on your message. In conclusion, remember, you want to practice. You want to practice your speech, practice feeling confident, you also want to practice getting the body involved. Definitely record yourself. And watch how you actually speak, your body language, and what you sound like. You also want to practice your self-talk. Because your mind plays the biggest role in how your speech will go. So definitely practice your self-talk and practice your imagination. This one is going to be key. When you practice imagining things going right, they will. All this requires practice, but you can do it. Don't forget, all of this is achievable, but it's up to you to put in the work. When you can get out of your way and actually speak to the people you want to speak to, you can get your messages across and you might open some doors you never even thought could be opened. The point of learning how to be a better communicator is so that you can get your message out to the world. The world wants to hear from you. I want to hear from you. leave me a comment on how you're going to actually implement any of these strategies into your daily life so that you can become the person that people want to hear from today. I am James Moore Jr., and thank you again for being a part of my channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more content on how you can become a more confident speaker. Peace.